Hello, 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 hello. If this is your very first time joining me, my name is Turea Simpson of TureaSimpson.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another one of my Tuesday Talks with Turea. And you may say, well, who are you, Turea? My name is Turea Simpson. I am a bankruptcy recovery strategist. And what I believe is a couple of things. One, I want to let you know that bankruptcy is not just about financials, it is about a state of mind. So if you are a person who has filed bankruptcy, contemplated filing bankruptcy, or just in a state of what we consider a state of failure, guess what? Sometimes it's not just all about the money. It could be where you are right now, your headspace. Your headspace plays a lot of why you are where you are at this particular time. So what I come on to do as a bankruptcy recovery strategist is to improve people's lives by impaction. So I believe I can impact somebody's life and build people as well. Today, before I get started, we're going to be talking about 10 ways to improve your credit score. And before I get into that, I want to give out some announcements. This Saturday at 9 a.m., I am having a very special edition, which I'm calling Real Money Talk with Turea. I'm going to have a special guest by the name of Andrea Thomas. Andrea Thomas is an entrepreneur, a wife, and a mother who has scaled a business to six figures. Believe me, you do not want to miss this opportunity that she's going to be talking about how to be able to start a side hustle. She currently runs and coordinates and teach people how to sell things on Amazon. And you can start this as a side hustle. You don't have to do this on a full-time basis. But once you get up there and your money and you start seeing that money coming, guess what? You possibly could start this business as a full-time business. So you don't want to miss this opportunity that I'm going to be speaking with Andrea Thomas, who is a wife, a mother, entrepreneur, and CEO. So be there with me Saturday morning at 9 a.m. to hear about what Andrea has to say. You definitely do not want to miss it. So that'll be Saturday, January the 11th. Also, I may or may not have a Facebook Live on next Tuesday. Some of you may or you may not know that I have recently had death within my family, and I have um, a lot of stuff that's just been going on, and so as a result, I may be taking next Tuesday off, not to do a Facebook Live, so that I can handle a lot of personal things with my family and moving from there. So we'll see. I will post at least by Monday if I'm not able to do it, and let you know. But you don't want to miss it. Don't want to miss it this Saturday, not next Saturday. This Saturday, January the 11th, that I'm going to be talking with Miss Andrea Thomas. Now, today, as I said before, we're going to be talking about 10 ways to improve your credit score. And, credit is oftentimes, a poor subject that people really, they want to hear about, but they don't really want to talk about. Having poor credit can stop you from doing a whole lot of things. It can stop you from being able to purchase a car, a home. It can affect you even when it comes to getting certain loans that you may need from starting a business. Credit is something that is like your walking card to creditors to say whether or not you are trustworthy. So if you have bad credit, it says to creditors that you can't be trusted when it comes to money. Now, you may be able to be trusted in other areas of your life, but, they may see based upon what they see in writing that, that it can be um, something that's out there that your creditors can see. So it can determine how easy or how difficult it will be for you to access credit when you have bad credit. The higher your score, the easier it is for you to get loans and at lower interest rates. Unfortunately, many people today don't have or don't check on their credit scores on a consistent basis. You know, I recommend that you set up to look at your credit scores. You can look at Credit Karma. That's a free one, but they're not totally accurate, but sometimes they're in the ballpark figure so that you can figure out where your credit score is. The majority of the time, to have an accurate credit score, you really definitely need to go to the credit bureaus and pay for them so that you can know exactly what your score is. But let me tell you something that you may not know is that, did you know that the majority of your banks, yes, your banks, your credit unions, your local banks, to the big large banks, they all now, most of them pull various credit reports. So it could be TransUnion, it could be Experian, or it could be Equifax. One of those can be done. Like my credit union pulls Equifax, but Chase pulls TransUnion. Capital One that I have uses TransUnion. And then I have an account with Wells Fargo. So I can see all three credit reports for free every single month. You do not want to miss this opportunity. Go on there and check it out and sign up for you to be able to receive your credit report. And then not only that, you can get the credit score, but you can actually see the credit report. So when something comes in, something falls off, you have the ability through the banks to be able to see this information all for free. It's just being a member of that bank. So I would suggest to you that today that you go on and you make certain that you check those free methods of being able to get your credit score every single month through, like I said, through your banks, through your credit unions, your local banks, the big banks. Check them out. You can get those credit scores for free. Now, if you need to get a free credit report once a year, you're able to get a credit report for free. How can you get it for free? The way that you get it for free is through annualcreditreporting.com. Now, for people that have filed bankruptcy, and when I was at a law firm, and I would get questions all the time from clients to say, okay, so now what do I do? I filed bankruptcy. How am I going to improve my credit? This was something I had to deal with consistently all the time. So I would ask the lawyer, okay, what do you want me to tell them now that they're calling in? They want to know exactly what they should or should not be doing as far as their credit report is concerned. And sometimes she would just give me some little vague answers. Oh, just say this, say that. But I started doing research on my own to be able to help give knowledgeable information to the clients who actually file bankruptcy, because many of them, because this is something that when you file bankruptcy that they actually do not teach you. They don't teach you anything about how to improve your credit score after you have filed bankruptcy. So you just kind of left out there willy-nilly, as they say, trying to figure out what it is that you should be doing now that you have ruined your credit. And so I had to begin to teach myself what was necessary to be able to guide the clients on what to look for when they file when they file bankruptcy. Now, I recommend, here's what I recommend, that every person that has credit, they pull their credit report twice a year. Now you say, well, okay, one, I can get it for free once a year. Do that. The second time you need to pull it in that 6 month span, do it where you pay for it because it's worth it. A lot of people don't review their credit reports at all, but it's something that you definitely want to be doing. You need to pull your credit report every single year, at least twice a year. If you have children, here is what I recommend. If you have children, freeze your children's credit report. Now, I've heard of parents, and this is god awful, but let me throw this out there because there are some people that actually do this. There are some parents who will take their children's social security number and ruin them. This has happened. It's still happening. Getting lights and children's names. Don't do that. Don't ruin a child's ability to be able to have credit someday. What I want to do is to empower people to teach them about what they should and should not be doing as far as the credit reports are concerned. And so here today, that's what I want to do. I want to teach you, if you don't know, to give you the knowledge about your credit report. Now, it's essential that you check your credit report and make certain that it is accurate because, oh my gosh, 9 out of 10 times there's always some type of inaccuracy on a credit report. And you may say, well, how would you know that? It happens all the time that there are inaccuracies all of the time. So you definitely want to be checking it out. You don't want it to be where you're just leaving it out there and you don't know what is on your credit report. It's so needed that you know exactly what it is and put the control back into your hand by you being able to access the information once a year, and you know what you have on your credit report. And especially if you're dating. Let me tell you. Now, I've been married for a very long time, so that I've been out the dating game. However, those of you that are in the dating game, going back into the dating game, this is something you definitely want to have a conversation with, especially if you're going to be in something long term or you're going to definitely marry someone. You want to be looking on these credit reports. You're going to be looking for certain errors on the credit report. Now, let's talk about some of these errors that you can find on your credit report. Now, the typical thing, oh gosh, I went too far on my slides. Hold on just a moment. Not good. Now, there are some common errors when it comes to credit reports. Now, the other day, I pulled my TransUnion credit report, and on it, they had something like they had a whole 3 rows of things that you can dispute on your credit report. Now, the common errors that you're definitely going to be looking for is to know whether or not the balances or past due amounts are correct or not correct. You want to make certain that the dates, this is another common error, if the dates on the account are correct. You want to know whether or not it's showing someone else's information on your report. I'm going to tell you, a guy that contacted me before about doing credit repair work for him and his father had the same name, but his father's information was showing up on his credit report. Okay, so for you juniors or the seconds or the first or whatever it is with the same names, this happens all the time, that you will have someone else's information listed on your credit report. Another common error is wrong details about your account altogether. You definitely want to make certain that you're looking for this type of information when it comes to the credit report. You want to make certain also that it's not out of date. A credit report agency can report this information to up to 7 years. Now, doesn't legally mean, even though after 7 years, that they cannot still collect the debt. But it cannot be on the credit report after 7 years. So you definitely want to be looking for these common errors. Now, when I pull the TransUnion dispute for the credit report, as I talked about, they had 3 columns. And let me tell you about some other things that's listed, especially if you file bankruptcy. We would oftentimes have people to tell them that the debt was included in a bankruptcy. So it needs to be reflected on the credit report that it was included in the bankruptcy. So you want to be sure that information is listed, that the creditor is not saying, oh, it's charged off, it's closed, any of those things. You want to be sure that it is not on your credit report and it's showing some inaccurate information on it at all. If you are divorcing or you have divorced, you want to make certain that your ex-spouse's debt, especially if you were not on the debt at all, that they're not listed on there. So you want to be sure that you're looking at all of these type of errors that happen every single day. You want to make certain you don't have duplicate accounts. This happens. It's a very common practice that a creditor will report all the time, and it's the very same thing. You write to the credit bureau. If they don't have the information listed there, and you dispute and tell them why. You can write a letter or you can do it online yourself. Now, after you review the credit report and you look for errors, the next way to improve your credit score is by doing this. Is to make certain that you pay your bills on time. They do have it now, and some companies will report to the credit bureaus when you're making your bills being paid on time. It is important to do that. So and then the way you can do this is when you pay your bills on time, you can also pay your bills more than once within a billing cycle. So you can accumulate a credit. You can have that information reported to the credit bureau. Now, another way to be able to improve your credit score is don't close unused credit card accounts or any type of, it could be a revolving account. Now, say for instance, you have the Care Credit Card. Now, the Care Credit Card is a card that is used for medical things. Now, you may not always have, like, for example, you need to go to the dentist. We all know, those of us that have ever been to the dentist can cost you a lot of money, from pulling a tooth, especially if you got to have a deep cleaning. Anything, the majority of the time, is going to cost you a lot of money. And so Care Credit is something that is used all the time at these particular dentist offices. But if you're not using the care credit, say for instance, you haven't used it in 2 years, don't close the account. Put the card away. And then at some point, you may need to use it. You use it. And with care credit, you have, I think, 6 months and you pay it off. You pay it off before it is necessary and or interest begins to be added, those type of things, but you don't close the account. Why? The reason you don't close the account is because the older accounts help to build your credit score. So you don't want to close the account. If you close it, it can hurt your score. It can take your score down by at least, several points. And especially if you decide, in the next 4 or 5 years, I know for me, I'm going to be needing to purchase maybe a car because I have a child that will eventually need to have a car. And so I know I need to start getting ready to make that big purchase again. And I want to make certain that my credit is where it needs to be. You might have some kind of life situation too, where you're going to need to make certain that you have the credit in place. You might you want to buy a home. You probably have been renting for a very long time and you want to rent again. I mean, you want to buy, and you're going to need to make certain that you have the credit score necessary in order to purchase that home. So don't close those credit card accounts or those revolving accounts because they help your score. Also, this is another thing that is so terrible, is that people will begin to apply for credit, especially when you're new at getting credit. You apply for all kinds of credit cards. The department store cards can be some of the worst. I've said to many family members that I've dealt with, because I've been in this industry, you only need 2 to 3 major credit cards. Stay away from the department store credit cards, especially if you don't have the discipline necessary not to just spend. Only have 2 to 3 major credit cards, and that is it. So when you begin to apply for more than one card, it pulls your credit score down. You have to be careful about that. Is creditors will pull your credit report and they will see you as you are a potential problem because you're pulling for credit a lot, and so you want to be sure that you're not doing that. It's just the same way it is when you go to purchase a car. Car companies look to see whether or not you've been pulling or some other car lot has been pulling your credit. So you want to be sure that you are not applying for more than one card, or just only apply for the cards when you absolutely need them. Then another way to improve your credit score is by doing this. Diversify the types of accounts that you have on it. For instance, you may have a couple of credit cards, but you have no revolving accounts. Now, creditors like to see that you have some type of revolving account. What are you saying? What are revolving accounts? What I would tell the clients was, when they would come through the door, is to tell them, if you have a mortgage, make certain that you pay your mortgage on time. For those that may have filed bankruptcy and they haven't done the legalities to ensure that the mortgage companies are giving them proper credit for them paying their mortgage on time, what we would recommend for you to do is to write a letter to the credit bureau every single month, saying that you have and show proof that you have been making these payments on time. Now, diversifying the account can be done another way. There is a company it used to be called Self Lender, but now it's called Self. And what that particular company will do is it will allow you to put up a certain amount of money that they hold in savings after it is in there for you pay every single month. For example, let's just say 6 months. You pay on this particular credit, this account. They state it's a revolving account. They report to the credit bureau. The money is withdrawn from your account every single month, and they report it to the credit bureau. It helps to boost your credit score. That's another way to boost the credit score. So if you haven't heard of Self, check it out. You can be able to boost your credit score through Self. Now, another way to improve your credit score would be consider using 0% interest credit cards. Well, you may say, well, oh, I never thought about that. Instead of having a large amount over at, let's just say, Chase Bank, but Capital One is offering you to be able to transfer your balance and have 0% interest for 1 year. That 1 year you work very hard to get that balance down, but you transfer it from the company that has the interest at, say, for instance, 23%, and you transfer it over to a 0% credit card, let's say, for 1 year. That's another way for you to improve your credit score, is by transferring that balance. Now, another way that you can do is to improve your credit score is by doing this. It's something that I recommend to people that I know, is that if you know someone else that has good credit, piggyback off of their account. Now, you need to be trustworthy. Let me just say that. If you're not the trustworthy type of individual, you definitely need to be trustworthy to ask someone, because they need to trust you, that you're not going to go into their account in some kind of way because you're now becoming an authorized user. But once you are someone who can be trusted, you go on and you piggyback off of that person's credit. You want them to choose an account that they've had the longest and in the best standing, put you on that credit card, and watch your credit score jump. Your score can jump actually by hundreds. It can jump that amount of time. It is good. It's a good thing to have. Do it for 6 months, and then you can get off that person's credit. Now, what I would tell you to do is that if someone does that for you, you do it. I'm a firm believer that everyone should reach one, and you teach someone else. Reach somebody and teach somebody. So someone else that may have problems with their credit, help them out. Show them the ropes of the information that I'm giving to you just today. People they will charge for this type of information. But let me tell you, today I want to help you to improve your credit score. Now, another way that you can help your credit score is by not doing this. Be careful about paying off old debts, because sometimes, maybe in some states, it can reactivate the time frame of when you actually owe the debt. So, it'll put you back in the same boat with that particular creditor. Now, if, for example, you feel like that you cannot, you tried everything, you don't know what to do, how to get out of debt, you can consider debt consolidation. Most of the time I've seen some people who've done debt consolidation. It works for some, sometimes just not. I would say to you that if you need help finding a reputable, bankruptcy attorney, do not hesitate to contact me. I will help you find someone. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to necessarily find you the cheapest person in your state, in your city. I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to find someone that I know has a good reputation within the community. They have a good reputation within the courts, and they have a good reputation with the governmental agencies that run the bankruptcy system. So that's important. If it's something that you want to know about bankruptcy, and as far as that is concerned, I will definitely put you in contact with an attorney that is going to help you out. So if you feel like today, just recapping, that you need some help in improving your credit score, or you just want to do credit repair, some people really just don't want to do it on their own. They say, well, I just don't have the time to do it on my own, but I would say you can do one of two things. You could do it on your own, or guess what? You can hire me. I bet you didn't know that about me, that I do credit repair. It is something that I have been doing for a while, and some people may know about it, some people may not. So if you're looking for someone to help you with credit repair, I say to give me a call today. You can reach me at 713-489-8168. And if not, you can go on to my link tree at Turea Simpson, and you can schedule a time so that we can meet. Thank you guys for joining me today. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and like, share, and leave in the comments if it's something that you want to know. If you have a question about your credit report and you're not sure about it, I'd be happy to do a free discovery call with you for 15 minutes, and we can go over and talk about your credit report, and I can answer some of your questions. After that 15 minutes, child, let me tell you, it ain't gonna be free. So you want to be sure that you want to get your questions written and answered, and I will be able to answer them for you. I thank you guys for joining me on today with Tuesday Talks with Turea. I'll see you next time.